Hey everyone. If you can hear me okay, can someone just comment in the comments just to make sure we're good to go? Oh, great. Sunny did that. Thank you. Yes, I can't tell who's all out there, but thank you for attending. I'm Mitchell. I work with DAO. I'm part of Network. I'm a contributor with the DAO. I work on the ventures team and the DeFi team. Um, I've been with informally for a while, working part-time as a contributor, and joined the team in the fall. I've been with them for about 6 months. I'm going to give a background on DAO here and talking about forming a DAO. The DAO was created a little while ago, and we're learning as we go. So it's been a fun experience and something that I'm excited to share with everyone. So yeah, I'll jump right in it. So first of all, we'll start with an overview of Network. So the Network was founded in 2019, and it was incubated by Kronos Research, which is a large trading firm. The Network connects traders, exchanges, institutions, other big trading firms, and also DeFi platforms. And the goal is really to have the best-in-class liquidity and trading at the lowest cost. We actually offer zero-fee trading. All of this is powered by the WU token, which is used through its staking program to unlock lower fees and other benefits as well. So that's the WUX, the centralized exchange, is a part of the WU network. We also have WuFi, which is a decentralized exchange. It's live on BNB Chain, as well as Avalanche. It just launched on Avalanche. We have WuTrade, which is this is the institutional platform, so other exchanges can plug into the WU network and access the liquidity. So if it's a smaller exchange and they're relatively illiquid, they can connect into the WU network and get better liquidity on their order books. We also have WuFi, as I mentioned, which is the decentralized exchange. That's the most recent product we've launched. And we're continuing to build that onto other chains as well as launch other features. So we have the swap feature, which is like a decentralized exchange. And we actually recently launched WuFi Earn, which is basically a platform where you can deposit assets into the vaults and earn yield. That's live on BNB Chain as well, and also Avalanche. So here's a diagram to give a sense of the WU ecosystem. Like I mentioned, we have large traders, exchanges here, many familiar names. We recently raised a Series A round, and it was actually led by Binance, well, at the time, Binance Smart Chain, but now BNB Chain, as well as participation from other ecosystems such as Avalanche. We have a lot of DeFi applications that we've integrated with and partnered with. So, for example, aggregators such as 0x or Matcha, 1inch. Any questions, actually? Natai, I can see your question. So please, if you have a question, you can ask it. But yeah, WuFi and WU Network plugs in with aggregators such as 1inch, Matcha. I think there's one other one I can't remember right now. But the idea is that we can quote on the aggregators as well as provide liquidity directly to the DEXs. The biggest one is actually DYDX, where WU Network and Kronos is one of the largest market makers. So yeah, it's a really big ecosystem across CeFi, DeFi, many different blockchains, and really many different centralized exchanges. So as I mentioned, we launched the WU DAO in December of 2021. The idea was really that we have the centralized products, we built out the decentralized products, and we really wanted to grow our community. So by launching the WU DAO, we were really focused on increasing growth across the WU network, bringing users to the ecosystem, expanding our ecosystem further across both CeFi and DeFi. Additionally, increasing the WU token's utility. So by partnering with other DeFi applications, the WU token's more useful. This could be through bridging to other networks, having liquidity on other networks. For example, also borrowing against the WU token on various DeFi borrowing lending platforms. And really, we also just wanted to partner with these applications more. And we felt by approaching them as a DAO is more appropriate than as a centralized entity. And the last one is really encouraging community engagement. So getting all of the Woo token holders more involved in contributing to the Woo project, and it can be anything. We just ran a meme competition where people created memes for us that actually boosted community engagement a lot. We have what we're calling the Woo Force, which is similar to Binance Angels, actually, where people are going out, hosting local events, educating people, sharing research and educational material about the Woo network and Woo DAO across social media, whether it's Twitter or Medium. So we're really trying to grow the Woo network through the Woo DAO. The Woo DAO was seeded or created with 300 million Woo tokens as part of its treasury. And the treasury's job really is to fund initiatives with the DAO and partner through using the DAO, other DeFi applications. So Woo DAO is on Discord. You can join through the Discord link that's on our Twitter, Woo Network's Twitter. We even have a role set up where if you stake at least 1,800 Woo, either on the DEX, WooFi, or on the centralized exchange, WooX, you can be eligible for the voter role. And with the voter role, you can actually vote on initiatives we have. So in the governance process, everything starts with a WRC, Woo Request for Comment. So there, an initial proposal comes out where it's a text-based proposal. People can comment on it on similar to a forum, and if there's a lot of support, we'll explore it further. Then we have a community call every Wednesday at 3 p.m. UTC. In the community calls, we bring in the representatives from the partner projects we're partnering with, and then we discuss it further. We hear from them. And then if there's sufficient support from the community, we move it to what's called the WIP, which is a Woo Improvement Proposal, where we're actually voting on it. And to be eligible to vote, as I said, you have to be registered, and to register, you have to stake Woo. So the idea is that only Woo stakers can actually vote on proposals and help shape the DAO. Actually, we got a comment from Natai on what's the commercial value of Woo system in the future. I would say there's a few. One is providing centralized exchange quality liquidity on chain. So that's the goal of WooFi. If you go to fi.woo.org, or you just Google WooFi, you'll see our DEX, and on it compares the price you get if you were to swap, let's say, BNB for BUSD, and how that compares if you were to use PancakeSwap or MDEX or any of the other DEXs on BNB Chain. And often you'll see WooFi has the most competitive pricing, especially for larger orders. So I would say that's the commercial value on DeFi. On CeFi, we're building a centralized exchange, WooX, which has zero fee trading, as I mentioned. It has spot markets for, I think, almost 100 markets. And we recently just launched futures as well. So there you can actually trade perps on many of the coins that you like with zero fees if you stake 1,800 Woo. Yeah, so this is the DAO. We launched it in December, so it's only about 5 months old. We've grown quite a lot. We have about 20 active contributors and about, I would say, 200 active members and maybe 1,000 more passive members. Our weekly community calls get about 100 attendees. So it's relatively small, but it's a really passionate community, and I'm really proud to see all the engagement we've had amongst those that have really been active. So here are some key activities for Woo DAO. So these are some of the things that we typically do. One is a grant or bounty where projects, communities, developers, basically any type of contributor may be eligible for a grant. And the idea is that we want to incentivize others to participate and support the DAO, whether it's building products, tools. We had a user build a dashboard that tracks all of the progress. We had another user build bots in our Discord that just measures various numbers across the Woo network, such as the trading volume, the total amount staked. We had another one, as I mentioned, with the meme competition, make a bunch of different memes for us, which has been really popular within the community. With token swaps, what we do there is we find projects that we're strategically aligned with, where we swap our Woo token with their token. So kind of a DAO to DAO swap. And that really aligns the incentives of both parties, where Woo DAO is incentivized to support growth across Woo network for that project. And then they're incentivized to help us expand in their ecosystem. So an example here is we've done this with NEAR, NEAR. So we swapped Woo for NEAR, and we're currently working on building the DEX out on the NEAR ecosystem, listing NEAR and other ecosystem tokens on WooX and WooFi. Yeah, and so these token swaps are really more of a DAO to DAO partnership. Less formally, we have the DeFi partnerships. For example, we'll show on the next slide what we've done with Olympus DAO, Uniswap, and Bancor. It can be anything from adding more liquidity on DeFi or using some of their products. Related to this, we have Treasury Management, where we're trying to utilize the Treasury to fund growth initiatives, diversify it a bit so that we have stable coins and ETH in there as well as other tokens such as BNB, and also passively earn revenue. The revenue can help support growth initiatives, as I mentioned. The last big one is delegated governance. Here, for example, what we're trying to do is have Woo DAO be a representative in other DAO's governance. So a good example is DYDX, where we've had several token holders within the Woo DAO community delegate their DYDX voting power to Woo DAO. And then Woo DAO reviews all of the proposals on DYDX and makes votes on behalf of the Woo DAO community. And this is really to help get Woo DAO more active in governance across major DeFi applications. We've looked at DYDX, Paraswap is another, and we're continuing to support other major DAOs that are active in governance. Here's an overview of some of the treasury management initiatives that we've done. I can go through each of these. So Uniswap v3, it has single-sided liquidity. So there we were able to deposit just Woo and passively increase the liquidity for Woo on chain. This is good because it helps reduce volatility and also reduces trading costs. So for example, if someone wanted to buy Woo or sell Woo on chain, after this initiative now, because of the DAO, they're able to do that much more efficiently. Similarly, we did that with Bancor. Again, it's another decentralized exchange on Ethereum where we are enabling more people to trade through Bancor and have lower fees and better liquidity. With Theta Nuts, this one's launched on BNB Chain. What we're doing is selling covered calls on the Woo token. So what we're doing is we're depositing Woo into their vault and selling what's called a call option. So recently, Woo was trading around 50 cents at the time, and we sold call options for, I think it was 85 cents, and they're expiring at the end of March, so tomorrow. And the idea is that if the Woo price goes up a lot, then we will be selling those calls or selling the Woo tokens at the fixed price of 85 cents and diversifying the treasury into USDC. We did a very small amount, about 400,000 Woo tokens, which again is not very large compared to the 300 million tokens we have. But the idea is that we're slowly diversifying the treasury, but also creating an options market. So before we started this initiative, there was no options market for the Woo token. So this is a really good example of using these DeFi tools to really like create, as I said, more utility for Woo, having more new features for it. Most recently, we just worked with Olympus DAO, Ohm, if you might be familiar, where we're using their major product, Olympus Pro, to bond our Woo token and acquire AVAX USDC LP tokens. So this one's quite complex. Basically, Olympus Pro allows us to pay for these LP tokens with Woo. And the nice part is that we now own AVAX and USDC with potentially less sell pressure than if we were to just sell the Woo and buy these assets. This is useful because we're diversifying our treasury. We're actually going to create Woo AVAX and Woo USDC pools on Trader Joe. And yeah, so it's really about diversification, and also, as I've mentioned this before, partnering with other major DAOs. One last one that we're currently working on right now is with Seller Seabridge. And the idea is that Woo DAO will provide Woo tokens into the bridge. So if people want to move their Woo directly from, let's say, Avalanche to BNB Chain, instead of going through Ethereum, they can go directly from Avalanche to BNB Chain through Seller. Another example is with Arbitrum, where it normally takes 7 days to withdraw your assets. Using Seabridge, for example, we can actually enable instant withdrawals. So again, this is another example of Woo DAO providing liquidity to increase the Woo token's utility across DeFi. We're working on other initiatives. They're not as far along, and we're always looking for projects to partner with. So if you work with a project, or you're an investor or token holder in a project, and you think that there could be a possibility to partner with Woo DAO, we'd love to meet you guys. So please, I encourage everyone to come to our Discord and get involved in Woo DAO if you're interested. And just the last slide that I wanted to talk about briefly are some of the key challenges for Woo DAO. So as I mentioned, we're only about 4 months old. It doesn't feel like that. But yeah, so some of the challenges we're facing is how do we engage the community? So I mentioned we have about 20 active contributors and maybe 100, 200 active members. How do we get more members active, and how do we get those active members contributing? Contributing meaning like being part of some of our committees, working on bounties or grants for the DAO, and again, just being overall more involved in the DAO. So this is something we're working on. I would say that being consistent and asking and doing a lot of call to actions. So asking basically on our community calls for people to get involved consistently. That's helped us grow. Also, working through initiatives and getting involved by partnering with other applications, like in making progress. I think that helps a lot as well. What we've seen is the progress, as we make more progress, other people are more interested, and they see that it's worthwhile to contribute and participate because we're actually making progress and we're being very active in the space. Another challenge we're facing is how to contribute or how to compensate contributors. So for the people that are working every day or throughout the week with Woo DAO and contributing, how should we compensate them? What's the right approach? How do we align the incentives? How do we do it in a way that's not too little or too cheap, that they feel insulted or it's not worth their time? Also, how do we do it where it's not too much, where people are contributing just to get paid and not because they want to work for Woo DAO? We're looking, actually, we just partnered as well with Binance NFT and Solve protocol to issue FNFTs. And those are financial NFTs, which you can think of locking Woo in there for a period of time, which it slowly unlocks. And we're thinking about using those FNFTs to compensate contributors. And the idea with that is It takes a while to unlock, so they're incentivized to keep contributing, and it's a simple way of paying them over a longer period of time without having to make the payments every month. So that's one tool we've used. More generally, with DAO tooling, we're trying to understand like what are the right tools to use. Like for example, should all of our DAO contributors have like a Gmail account, and that way they all have calendar and email, so they can communicate with each other. Should we use Google Meet? Should we meet only in the Discord? Should we share information through that mechanism, through Discord and posting on threads? Maybe using tools like Notion or Medium to share longer articles, whether we should use a forum like Commonwealth or just keep everything within Discord for now. With voting, do we do on-chain voting with Snapshot, or do we do it through Discord the way we've set it up? For us, the problem is, or the challenge is, we have a lot of Woo stakers on WooX, the centralized exchange. So using Snapshot, the on-chain tool, it doesn't really work because there's no way of Snapshot seeing the WooX stakers. So potentially all of those stakers couldn't vote through Snapshot. Even if we ignore that, Snapshot's not on every blockchain Woo stake is on, WooFi stake. So, for example, WooFi is on BNB Chain and Avalanche, and it's going to launch on a few more networks soon. If Snapshot is not on those networks, then anyone staking there can't vote. So we really don't have a good set of tools yet, and I think crypto as an industry doesn't really have the right tools for DAOs yet. Yeah, so we're still trying to figure this out, and this is something that we're going to keep working on and improving for a long time. Diversifying the treasury. So we started with just 300 million Woo tokens. What do we do in terms of getting other assets such as ETH, WBTC, BNB, AVAX, as well as stable coins, so BUSD, USDC, Tether, USDT, and what to do with them. So how should we earn yield? And so, yeah, we've talked about a few diversification strategies, as I mentioned before, using Theta Nuts, also with Uniswap and basically the impermanent loss in the Woo ETH pool, for example. It's not really impermanent loss for us because we're basically passively diversifying the Woo into ETH, or we also have the USDC pool. So this is a way of slowly accumulating those assets without creating any sell pressure. Basically, people are buying Woo on the pools and selling USDC or ETH to the DAO. So that's a way we've been able to diversify passively. And we're exploring more sophisticated ways with protocols like Ondo and Frax, and a couple other ones that are a bit earlier stages. And then I would say just the last challenge is really regulatory risk, where it's not clear how governments around the world will treat DAOs and also the contributors. Like from like a tax point of view, if we pay them this FNFT, how does that work? So there's really a lot of questions and not a lot of answers here as well. We're doing the best we can to act appropriately and to follow regulations, but there's really not a lot of regulatory clarity for DAOs. So this is really something that we're going to work through as regulations become more clear. This is the last slide I had here. I know we have just a couple minutes before the presentation is over, so I encourage everyone to ask any questions. I have access to the YouTube questions here now. I'm just going to ping Sunny. Yeah, so please, we have a minute here. If you want to ask any questions, I'd really appreciate it. Overall, I would just say that it's been really fun working for the DAO or contributing to the DAO, and it's been very challenging trying to work with a bunch of people around the world. We have contributors all across Asia, Australia, throughout Latin America and South America, all across Europe. So really, we have contributors all over the globe. Many speak different languages. They're all different ages, both men and women. It's very diverse, and so it's been really fun and challenging to work with many different people, and it's really rewarding, I would say, being able to connect with people around the globe and share common interests and really work on a common goal of growing the Woo network. Yeah, so I would say to all of you, I encourage you to get involved with a DAO. If you haven't already, find one that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be like something like Woo DAO. It could be something more fun. Yeah, and I really encourage you guys to all get involved in DAOs if you're not already. And if you're already working through a DAO, I would love to hear if you've come across these challenges and how you guys are working through them. I'm just seeing now there's no questions on Binance Live. I don't see any more questions on YouTube. I'll wait just a few more seconds if there's any final questions. And if not, I'm happy to move on and pass it to the next speaker. Okay. All right. Doesn't seem like there's any questions. Thank you all for attending. Please check us out on Twitter at Woo Network, and also in Discord. I believe Discord is at Woo Network as well. It's on our Twitter as well. So if you just want to go there and check it out, I encourage all of you to attend. And I just want to say thank you to BNB Chain and Binance more generally for hosting us and having this hackathon. And I thank you all for just being in crypto. Really happy to see this space continuing to grow. And yeah, have a great day, everyone.